Unexpectedly, I have the opportunity to speak with an author this morning. Marion Weatherburn is the author of a book called Caught Between Two Worlds. Good morning. How are you, Marion?
Good morning, Janet. I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, listeners.
Thank you so much for dropping in to say hello to us.
Thank you for asking me.
That's okay. Now, tell me about your new book. Is this your first book, or you've got a number of other books on the go, or what's going on?
This is my first book, and I've just been offered and accepted a distribution deal with a book publisher going Australia, Asia Pacific.
Oh, how exciting.
It really is exciting. It includes all of Australia, all of the big stores, and New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, all the Asian countries. So
made all
really
those
exciting.
Hours of work worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. It is my first book, but now that I've got that out of the way, I can concentrate on. I've got two more on the go.
On the go. So tell us about your book. It's called Caught Between Two Worlds. So can you give us a little précis about that and what it's actually about?
Okay. All right. I'm an internationally accredited psychic medium, naturally gifted. I've done it ever since I was a girl. I discovered my gift as a child. Oh, not as a child, as a teenager, actually, when I first started to see other people's answers in exams, in maths exams, and then various other things started to come to fruition. So I discovered my gift as a teenager, but learnt to live it and explore it as an adult. And my number one story in my book, which is called Geraldton in Wartime, is when, as a result of a psychic reading, I'm sure that most of your listeners will understand how psychic readings work. As a result of the psychic reading that I did for a beautiful lady here in Victor Harbour, after after living in Perth for 20 years, I moved back to Victor. I did a beautiful reading, a reading for a beautiful lady, a 72-year-old, and her dad's best friend came through in the reading, and he died in a plane crash on the 15th of March 1943 in Geraldton, Western Australia. So as a result of that reading, I actually am potentially the only psychic medium in Australia that's been to the actual grave. I've been to this gentleman's grave. I've been to where the plane crash happened, and I've collected shards of shrapnel and metal from that actual plane crash from 1943, all done in conjunction with the War Museum in Canberra and the museum in Geraldton. So it potentially makes me the only psychic medium that's ever done that. So Caught Between Two Worlds, the title came about because, as you know, being a psychic, you're dealing with the spirits upstairs, or the souls, the people that have passed before us, and being human, I'm still a soul here. Yes. The only difference between us is that I have the body. That's basically the only difference between us. So caught between two worlds, constantly caught between the spirit world, constantly caught between the human world. Which world do I prefer? I do tend to prefer the spirit world, because that's where souls are simple. We just want to love and be loved, and it's a beautiful place to be. Humans tend to complicate lives with their egos and their money and all those kinds of issues, those people issues. So yeah, that's how the title came about.
Okay, so it's actually a collection of stories then, the book,
okay,
or one long story with sort of about being a medium, and then interspersed with, I guess, experiences and things. Is that sort of how it's set up?
It's actually 3 parts.
Okay.
It's one book, 250 pages. It's one book. First part is the memoir, basically, of how I discovered what was going on for me. I thought it was normal. I thought everybody could hear and do what I did. I didn't realise that they couldn't. And I always used it for my benefit. Well, not for my benefit, in a good way, to help me, be a good person. So the first part is a memoir. Then it's followed by 30. I share 30 true stories, recollections. Each are true. And they're all amazing and profound. Even to me, they still make me cry when I read the book, because they are so special. Each of those are complemented by the testimonial given by the person that I've read for. So, and then the third part of the book is all that warm, loving, fuzzy stuff, that lovely stuff about spirituality that we all like to perhaps think about and talk about when it comes to souls, and just give people that. I guess my book is a little bit of a teaching book as well, a bit of a guide to help people. I see myself as a bit of a spiritual teacher working, and also as a New Age counsellor, and I do a lot of work with children and teen angels, I call them, not teenagers, and their parents and their teachers. So a lot of the work a lot of the work or a lot of what's been written in the book, it actually helps people do it themselves. There's no mystery to this stuff. It's all, doing it for the right reasons. We can all do it. We can just do it in different ways or at different levels. Yeah. So my book teaches all the way through. This is how it happened to me. This is perhaps happening to you, but you're not aware. Maybe you think it's your imagination. So, and yes. So it's lots of aspects. Very easy to read. Very, very easy to read. A lot of people have read it in 2 days. Like, they sit down, they just read it and all the way through. It's so easily written. It flows so well. Yeah. Even if I say so myself, but the feedback is, oh wow, I read that really quickly. So that was a good, easy read.
Oh, that's good. And what about your next two projects? Are they in a similar vein, or you've gone way off on a tangent to do something completely different?
I've done over 4,000 readings, probably 4,312, something like that, readings in my life, if I really sit down and start counting. So I'm grouping them into what I call categories. My next book is called When Love Falls Off the Wall, which is will be an amazing story in itself. And we all have signs in our life, often given to us by spirit, or people call them coincidences. I don't look at anything in a human way at all. To me, everything's beautiful, serendipity, destiny, fate, meant to be, orchestrated. Our lives are orchestrated. And once you start looking for the signs in life, I call them my starfish moments. And there's a story about why I call it a starfish moment. And it's just really exciting when you start almost joining the dots. It's like you're getting a little piece of information, and then that takes you to another place, and that gives you a little piece of information, or you meet someone, or you just see a word, and it's all so the book is called When Love Falls Off the Wall, and other spiritual signs that you need to pay attention to. But it's also about all the work I do with children and teen angels, because they are our evolution, and that work is so special. Like when you look at the eyes, we all do it now. You see a new baby, or you see a child, you go, that child's been here before. Well, they have, and they've got a very good reason for why they've come back. And a lot of the children, on a serious note, ADD and ADHD has been the diagnosis of that has increased by 300% over the last 10 years. And that's because of these new wave of children that are coming through. Some people call them indigo children. I don't call them that. I just call them their pure soul. They're born with all their six senses intact. Some of them don't know how to use it. Some of them do. For them, it's normal. But for us older people, the older generation, they're not really sure. They know there's something different and special about that child, but they're not quite sure what it is. And a lot of these children don't fit into mainstream schools, and parents often get phone calls and say, hey, I think we need some extra intervention and some counselling for your child. I see children as young as 4 that are troubled, and school is a problem for them. So that's what my second book's about.
Sounds fascinating. Well, thank you so much for calling in. Now, we're looking to having a book signing, aren't we?
We are.
So tell us about that. So if people are interested in meeting up with Marion and chatting to her personally, then when is your book signing going to be?
All right, my actual book signing is next Wednesday from 12 o'clock, say between 12 and 2, at the Book Stop shop here in the mall at Victor Harbour. Yvonne and Mark have been very kind. They've had my book ever since the launch, which was the 24th of November last year at Whalers. So they've had my book in store ever since then. The book is normally $24.95. It's currently going out for $15. I'm heading over there now for the next half an hour, and the first 2 people that come up that have listened today, you'll get a free book.
Well,
and I'll sign it for you. Next Wednesday, 12 o'clock.
Lovely. So that's in the mall in Victor. They usually have the sign out in the middle of the store saying bookshop open, and owned by local people. So always good to support local shops and things. And they've got a wealth of books and bits and pieces going on in there as well. So if you want to meet up with Marion and have a conversation with her, and more particularly purchase a book, or if you get down there in a very short time, you might get one for nothing at all. So pop down and see her. Thank you, Marion, very much. It was a joy to meet you.
Oh, my pleasure. Joy to meet you too. Thank you
very much.